Guys, welcome back to the next episode of Support Small and Local. And this morning I'm very excited to have Ingrid from the Fry Street Food Store, the Telecollective and the Vault join us. Ingrid, thank you for being with us this morning.
My pleasure. Hi, everybody.
So, we'd love to kick things off and basically get you to introduce yourself and tell us all about your fantastic business.
Yeah, as Anthony said, sort of have three sort of shop fronts that we operate out of. We've got the food store, which is our breakfast, lunch, produce store, wood-fired pizza venue that operates usually 7 days a week. And then we've got Tele-Restaurant, which is dinner dining, which is evening dining Tuesday to Saturday, and then the Vault, which is functions. And we've got some smaller spaces, so catering, meetings, corporate events, special events.
And all of the spaces are absolutely fantastic. Can personally vouch for them. Some of our favourite places in town. So, Ingrid, the whole purpose of Support Small and Local, obviously, is to be able to talk to local business owners and get their feedback on what it's been like, running a business in 2020 and how you've been able to manage, keep the business surviving, all of that sort of stuff. So I suppose the first question that we want to sort of ask is, when did you sort of first notice the impacts of the pandemic, or when did you sort of start to feel it?
I think sort of early to mid-March. I mean, it was a fairly sudden onset in terms of it escalated into that worldwide pandemic kind of level pretty quick. But we certainly saw a bit of a start in the downturn when things started to escalate in terms of the public health warnings, and a lot of our private events or corporate events are medical professionals that we host GP dinners and things like that. So a lot of those bookings started to cancel, and we were just about to start the Shepparton Arts Festival, and we were host to a bunch of events, some of our own and some that we were hosting on behalf of other people. So that sort of decision for the festival to be cancelled was sort of right at that start where we lost bookings and we lost the festival events, and then the shutdown was imminent. I think we had kind of a week and a half where we were just thinking, somebody really needs to make a call on it, because the numbers were starting to dry up, and we needed a bit of clarity on what the next step was going to be.
Yeah. I think one of the hardest things was it did hit us so quickly, right? Everything was kind of building momentum overseas, in sort of the start of the new year, moving into the few, but we didn't really anticipate that it was going to hit Australia as hard and as quickly as it did. So I think that's one thing that's kind of maybe opened up all of our eyes a little bit more around things that are happening out there in the world can very quickly impact us here as well. So what were some of the initial thoughts going through your mind when all this sort of stuff started to hit? What were you thinking?
Yeah, I think initially our thoughts, because we are a 7-day-a-week business and it's essentially three businesses being run together, that we had that internal bit of panic that, oh my God, we've got a lot of stock, we work with a lot of perishable items. There's going to be some major losses here if we're not able to turn one of the produce into things that are at least going to mitigate some of those short-term losses. And then when we were realising we were going to be closed and incomes were going to be down, it was just a matter of reducing overheads and covering the basics, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Again, like in the hospitality industry, it's something that many of us in the general public don't even think about in terms of the stock that you do have to have on hand and carry and pay for up front. And if it isn't used, or you don't have enough people coming through, or there's a global pandemic, like there is a lot of money that obviously is tied up in that sort of thing. So definitely a big amount of stress, I can imagine. And from that point, like, what did it, obviously you guys had to, lay off staff, close the doors. Like, what did you have to do once the restrictions and the shutdowns came in?
Yeah, we we've got a fairly high number of casual staff, so we try to be as open as transparent with them in communicating, look, this is happening, we don't know what it's going to mean, and we will sort of touch base, we will touch, emailing and keeping in check with staff fairly constantly in those first few weeks. But myself, John, Tracy and Ed, we all had a bit of a meeting really quick and sort of had a bit of a strategy there in terms of we just have to keep something going. We have to turn some of this fresh produce into something. So we looked very quickly at that takeaway, home delivery, take-home meal side of things that we pivoted towards. And that also enabled us to keep some of our core chefs and things like that on staff so that we weren't just fully standing down a whole brigade.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, well done to you on that and, pushing through, making those changes, making those pivots. And I think, not only has it allowed you to continue trading, keep staff on the payroll, all that sort of thing, like it's also perhaps opened up some other avenues in business. Like, what are your thoughts around moving forward when things go back to normal and, we're able to have people come back in and sit down and enjoy as we used to, with things like the deliveries and the takeaway lunches and that sort of stuff? Is that something you're going to keep going?
Yeah, and certainly we have always had a little bit of that take-home meal, and we've certainly had options for sort of corporate catering and delivery, and going forward, certainly through this transition period, our sort of business plan is to balance the dine-in with takeaway and delivery. And I think certainly we will keep takeaway and delivery in mind when we're planning our menus. It's our intention to continue doing that. It has opened our doors, I suppose, a little bit to a slightly wider audience. I think maybe a lot of people treat the restaurant a little bit as a special occasion restaurant where they might save it for a date night once a month or every couple of months, but having the ability just to order some gnocchi on Thursday night or something like that has really appealed to a wider audience than what we were originally expecting.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose that's one of the silver linings of the whole the whole pandemic coming through, is it's kind of forced us to look at the way we operate our business and potentially come up with as you mentioned now, some there'll be different income streams, right, moving forward. Hopefully we can get back to things being as normal as they can be in the shortest period of time possible. And as you said, you're going to be able to keep those things going, offering the products and the meals and the deliveries and all that sort of stuff to an audience who normally mightn't have been able to access it. So a small silver lining there. What are some of the other things that you have in the works, Ingrid? What's coming up for your business?
Well, because we have been operating in a takeaway space, it's given us a bit more opportunity to have a bit of a play with our selection of take-home meals, and I suppose put a bit more energy into making sure those items are, we can expand on the range. We're working at the moment on with a local distributor to get those in sort of send those out to a wider audience in a home delivery place. So partnering with another local business to do that, and we're really excited. So that'll be things like our lasagnas, quiche, gnocchi and ragu, but also a house-made chutney. We're getting the last touches on some labelling and getting the first batch of that ready. Fantastic. So essentially some of those things that people have always enjoyed, and we've always been asked, do you sell your chutney? We're kind of looking at making that sort of a real thing. I mean, we are the food bowl of Australia, so getting a few more local products out there and kind of getting a bit more of a brand of our own out there in terms of some local Goulburn Valley products. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, with the idea that we wouldn't just pitch them to locals, but they would become something that visitors to the region might desire as a product, or also we can send out to produce stores in other areas to kind of advertise, hey, the Goulburn Valley's got some great produce as well.
Fantastic. Love that. That's fantastic. Excellent. Look, one of the things I would love to touch on is the fact that, you've kind of mentioned it there already, but you do, you use so much amazing produce that's grown in the area, right? It's one of the things that you display very prominently inside the restaurants. You use a lot of local produce, local brands. Can you reel some of them off? What are some of the fantastic brands that you work with? Some of the produce that you get in from the local area?
Yeah, so we've got, I think, over 30 local producers, suppliers and services that we work with in our business. So we've got things from like Hallison, Murchison Wines, through to Goulburn Valley Pork, which is local free-range bacon, which is delicious, local free-range eggs from Dookie, the good-looking cookies, local honey. So one of our chefs, his parents, has got honey boxes on their farm. So we've got fresh from the farm honeycomb, local hazelnuts, local apples, tomatoes, olive oil. Yes, so much.
It's basically everything sourced local, isn't it? That's fantastic.
And I mean, I think they say in the local economy, if you spend $1 in locally, 70 cents of that will remain within the town. And I think in some towns like Shepparton, it's possibly higher than that. So, by supporting more local businesses, we're kind of ensuring that other local businesses also are supported through this time. So that's really been something that has been important to us to continue supporting not only sort of the winemakers and the brewers and the gin distillers and things like that, but sort of talking about it, talking out loud and reminding people of all the great things we have and the things that people will be able to get back to, sort of that farmers market. And
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic. And another great thing for people to remember as well, like, by supporting you guys and, taking advantage of those takeaways and deliveries and all that sort of stuff, the flow-on effect is that you are supporting all the other suppliers and local businesses as well. So, it's a really good system and, supporting local, you might be able to buy from one business locally, but the flow-on effects of the other companies that supply those businesses, it's good all around.
Yeah, exactly.
Ingrid, what sort of things have you learnt from the pandemic, either kind of personally or in business? What are some things that you've learnt from it? You might have taken it on board, you might have implemented some things already, but what's come out of the pandemic so far for you guys?
I suppose initially it really engaged our creative side in terms of trying to think up new ideas.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that you get bogged down a little bit in your day-to-day, just going through the motions, having to kind of think laterally on your feet and engage that other side of our brain has been really good. And then I suppose initially when we went into the first lockdown and then out of the first lockdown, we didn't realise we were going to be going back into lockdown again. It became, I suppose, a bit more about sustaining yourself. We've been pretty open with our staff about some of the pressures that are on us. We've got a young family. John and Tracy have a young family too. So we haven't been able to be maybe as present in the front of house kind of day-to-day running of the business because we've had those extra pressures of home learning like many other people. So again, I suppose it's just been communicating with our staff and other people that, we're all in this together and we're a really big team and they've been a great help to us in sort of working together to get through this.
Sounds like you've got a fantastic team there that,
Great crew. We treat our staff like family. We've got, when this all started, we had, I think, about 40 staff ranging from full-time chefs all the way through to after-school students that come and do a few hours with us. So, trying to keep as many of them on board and even though they might not be doing as many hours as normal, trying to keep some routine and a sense of normalcy for all of those people, which has kind of made everything else a bit easier to deal with.
Yeah, exactly. No, well done. And the other question that I wanted to ask was, can you explain to us with the 3 different businesses? Let's run through those again, and what kind of each one offers. Let's break it down for everybody.
So the Vault is really a function centre.
Yep.
We do anything from corporate daytime meetings through to weddings, engagement parties, birthday parties.
Fantastic.
And that's essentially, a space for hire. We do occasionally run our own events, like ticketed events there. The restaurant, teller, dining upstairs and downstairs, and some private spaces, so evening dining, Tuesday to Saturday, and then the food store, which is we're operating 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday at the moment. Breakfast, lunch, pizza on the weekends or Thursday to Saturday, and coffee and cake all day. So all homemade produce, local produce on the shelves, wine, beer, cider, so a bottle shop as well, and that's catering, home delivery, takeaway, grab and go meals.
Such a great business, and I can only imagine, and just listening to all that, the amount of work that you guys would have had to have juggled over basically this entire year, deserve a massive round of applause and a big pat on the back because you've done a fantastic job. Do you think you're going to be a much stronger business moving forward because of what we've experienced in 2020?
I think we've always had a bit of not putting all of our eggs in one basket because we've had the daytime cafe, nighttime restaurant and functions and events. I think it's going to make us diversify a bit more with those sort of ambient products, refrigerated products and looking into that wholesale side of things. I think it's going to take quite some time for the function and event side of things to sort of balance. So it's kind of slotting that into that vacant space at the moment. And also sort of hospitality in itself is a fairly fairly high overhead. So looking at those areas of the business where we've got some, not so much easy gains, but you can work into maybe some areas where there's not as much fluctuation, where hospitality as a whole has massive peaks on weekends and Christmas. Whereas some of that wholesale side of it or the take-home meal side of it is a bit more steady trade. So kind of, looking to balance that a little bit.
Fantastic. Well done. Well done. Look, Ingrid, can you please share with us where people can get in touch with you, where they can, physically attend the food store and the teller? Tell us all the details on where people can find you. So
we are located in Fry Street. The food store is number 53 and teller is number 55. And the Vault is down a secret laneway off Maud Street, just around the corner. And you can find us on Facebook and Instagram, Fry Street Food Store, Fry Street Food, Teller Restaurant, and our website, thetellercollective.com.
Fantastic. Ingrid from the Fry Street Food Store, the Teller Collective and the Vault, thank you very much for joining us today. And again, well done on everything that you have done throughout 2020. And look, we will be in very shortly as well to grab a coffee. It's a great place to catch up with people, and we're really looking forward to being able to come back and enjoy the experience that you guys offer very, very soon. So thanks again for joining us.
No problem. My pleasure, Anthony. Thank you.